Hi, everybody. Max here from shopsolarkits.com. We have Alex, the sales manager.
Hello.
This is just a quick video here to dive into a question that we get every single day. I'm going to let Alex jump into this because, I mean, Alex, you and Mike are the ones speaking to people on the phones most days. And I also want to plant a flag here and say that we are not bad mouthing for Patriots, the brand. They make some good, very good survival gear, food, knives, flashlights. When it comes to solar gear, we think that they're a little bit behind the eight ball. Maybe they haven't quite innovated over the last few years. And so there's other options out there. I'm going to let Alex dive into that a little bit more. Yeah, specifically the difference between the Patriot and the EcoFlow Delta, maybe some others, but I'll let Alex dive into that. So yeah, Alex, if you just want to let us know some of the differences that customers can expect with a Patriot as opposed to an EcoFlow.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got like a massive article on our website that kind of dives into it, and that's why I
And
think we get a lot
I'll
of
link that. Yeah, I'll link that in the show notes as well.
perfect. We get a ton of phone calls every day about it, just kind of saying, "Hey, I see the Patriot here, but I also see that the EcoFlow looks like it might be a good option." And we usually go and put the EcoFlow head to head with the Patriot just because they both have that 1800 watt inverter or 1800 watt output. So it's just super simple. It makes a lot of sense, and it almost feels like the EcoFlow is the newer version or is what the Patriot quote unquote should be. But like you kind of alluded to, the Patriot was launched about 5 years ago and they really just haven't innovated. Great brand, do tons of great stuff for our veterans. But at the same time, it's just when we get into it right here, we'll start with the battery capacity. The Patriot has a 652 watt hour battery, whereas the EcoFlow has about a 1260 watt hour battery. So right off the hop, you're getting twice as much battery in the EcoFlow as you would in the Patriot. And if we go right to price point, you're looking at about $2,500 for the Patriot. The Delta on its own is about $1,400. So right away, it's kind of like, okay, what's going on? And then as we look closer, even the surge capacity on the inverter. So when like a fridge or a freezer's compressor kind of kicks on to bring it back down to a temperature, it's going to surge. And so some appliances, you got about a 3,048 watt surge on the Patriot. You got a 3,300 watt surge on the Delta, which makes a huge difference if and when you need it. And then when we look at the solar input on the Patriot versus the Delta, it's actually 240 watts on the Patriot versus 400 watts on the Delta. So you almost got double the amount of solar panels that you can hook up to the Delta as opposed to the Patriot. So again, just means that you can charge it quicker. If you're running your fridge at say around 100 watts and you're only able to get around 240 watts, that means, don't want to get too complicated, but basically you're going to be able to cover your fridge draw with 100 watts. And on the Delta, you'll still be able to put 300 watts of solar into the battery
Right.
as
So
opposed to the
it's
Patriot.
like, yeah. So what you're saying is basically that because you can get more solar panels and more solar power into the Delta than you can into the Patriot, that you're able to run more appliances on the EcoFlow while you're charging it. And so you can put power into the unit while you're using it way more efficiently than you would be able to with the Patriot.
Exactly. So just kind of having the ability to put more juice in during the day gives you a more all-round system because that's more power that you're gonna be able to use the sun as it's coming in while you're
Mhm.
charging it, and then at night you'll move to your battery, and
Mhm.
that's going to be your 1260. So the solar charging is double on the Delta as opposed to it
Mhm.
is on the Patriot almost. The connections don't really matter too much. I mean, in terms of recharge rates, the Patriot's half the size of the battery. So when we look, it's not, you can't really necessarily compare recharge rates because obviously to charge a double the size of the battery, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah,
But
I think that might be worth spending some time on a little bit because if so, the both units have a very somewhat similar recharge time, but you have a twice the size of a battery in the EcoFlow. So if you can recharge these at almost the same time, but you have twice the battery in the EcoFlow, that makes a huge difference, right?
it does. It makes a huge difference. And the EcoFlow, the one thing that's kind of cool with it and that a lot of people love, especially people out in like California wildfires or even, dealing with hurricanes in Florida, is the fact that the Delta can be recharged from 0 to 80% from any wall outlet or AC power in
Mhm.
60 minutes. And it can be charged to 100, 0 to 100 in about an hour and a half, under 2 hours from any wall outlet. So if the power's out in your neighborhood or in your area, but 20 minutes, 30 minutes away, you can drive and rejuice it, then it
Right.
makes it super, super convenient. Or Friday night you're coming home and you realize that you're going camping but you haven't charged it, you can plug the Delta in while you're packing up, and then an hour later you can have 80% charge and you can finish with solar panels or whatever the
Cool.
next day type of deal. So that on the
Cool.
Delta is huge as well as that recharge rate. The car charge, again, I mean, off of this, there's no car charger with the Patriot. There is a car charger with the Delta, comes included, plugs right into the little 12-volt cigarette lighter port, right into your Delta, puts about 100 watts in while you're driving. So, I mean, not really something that's going to be ideal in like a grid down situation per se. You're not going to want to run your car for 10, 11 hours to recharge it, but great if you are driving or going wherever you're going in the car. It's just convenient. They both have the MPPT charge controller, so they're even there. A big one, surprisingly, that a lot of people, like the Delta and didn't realize, is that the Patriot's actually almost 46 pounds, I believe, and the Delta is actually 30 pounds on the nose. And so that 10, 15 pounds makes a big difference for a lot of, especially like senior citizens. We have a lot of people calling in, and so 30 pounds feels a lot more manageable than 45. So,
and yeah, another thing is the EcoFlow. It's so crazy to me. It has twice the battery size and weighs 10 pounds less. Like that's just crazy, right?
Newer technology.
Newer tech, yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then when it comes to amount of plugs on the EcoFlow, you have actually like 6 kind of AC or standard wall plugs on the back of it. 3 of those on the Delta can be 3-prong. On the Patriot, you've just got 2 3-prong 110 plugs. So a lot of people like that you can have multiple things plugged in at one time. We've got the 12-volt, the USBs. Those are all fairly similar. I guess the Delta does have some USB-C outlets, which is nice. The Patriot, again, being as old as it is, it was made kind of before those USB-C outlets came out, which are the new fat charging ports that you need for iPhone and Android. They both have pass-through charging, which basically just means that you can use the generator at the same time as you're powering it from sun or you're powering it from a wall outlet. The big thing that people don't really realize that I like to explain for them is that, so on the EcoFlow, yes, they can both do that, so which is great. But the Patriot, the maximum you're ever going to be able to get in is about 240 watts of sun coming in, and then you can be using it to power a 100-watt load. With the Delta, you can be getting 400 watts in, and then output the same, but just being able to get that more juice in again means that you're able to use more power and power more things throughout the day and take more advantage of the pass-through charging. Shelf life, that basically just means if I charge this thing up to 100% and throw it on the shelf and come back, how long before it's going to be, losing all of its battery or completely dead. And so with the Patriot, it'll hold a charge for about up to 6 months, and then you're going to have to come and give it a full recharge. With the Delta, it's a year. We would still recommend every 3 to 6 months checking it, just because in an emergency situation, the last thing you want is a dead generator. But the nice thing there is that if it does 8 months go by, 9 months go by, and all of a sudden you have a power outage or a storm or something, then, go into your Patriot, that thing's going to be dead. You're going to have to try and get it going on a solar panel or something. With the Delta, there's a good chance that if you haven't checked it, it's going to be sitting somewhere in the 90s and you'll be ready to rock. And again, that's just the newer technology. Warranty, again, it just continues. It's a double the warranty on the EcoFlow. So you got a 2-year warranty as opposed to a 1-year warranty on that. So that's just if anything goes wrong, anything like that, it's twice as long. And then, so I mean, it really comes down to, a lot of it hinges on that double the battery. They've got the same output. The weight is big for people, but anyway, you cut it and then you start to get into the price points. It's $2,500 versus we've got some of our best selling kits, which is the EcoFlow with the 4 panels, cables, connectors, everything, for under $1,800 out the door shipped.
Oh, wow.
So you're talking about a difference in $500-600 for twice as much. So
yeah, so I mean, this is a quick video. That's great. Thanks, Alex, for explaining that. I know you explain that to customers pretty much every single day. So we just hopped on here exactly to make a quick video about it. This is nothing about For Patriots, the brand. They make great products. They make great like canned survival food. I think they have knives and flashlights, stuff like that. As you alluded to, they do great stuff for our veterans. Their solar products are a little bit older technology. And so it's just kind of a PSA to let people know what to expect when it comes to solar products in general. But I will link the articles that we have about this in the show notes as well. And I'll put our phone number and email as well. If you guys, anybody wants to get in contact about any questions they have, they can reach out to us at any point. So great. Thanks so much, Alex.
Absolutely. My pleasure.